Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, rather had gonna
All right, should we talk? I mean, there's so much that's going on with Major League Pickleball. First, in actual results, the Hustlers came to play. They won all of their matches in D.C.
And did that surprise you?
It did. They didn't do great in Atlanta. I think they only won one match in Atlanta, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it did surprise me. Yeah, they didn't have a great Atlanta, and then to come out and play a bunch of really good teams in DC, like they didn't have an easy schedule either. They had the Black Diamonds, which was okay, that's easy. They had the Ranchers, who were missing Christian Alshon, and then Carolina Pickleball Club, which is Ben's team. They beat in a Dream Breaker. They beat what a lot of people are calling one of the best teams, the Dallas Flash, 3-1. That's J-Dub, Georgia, Augie, and Tyra. And then on day 4, they beat the St. Louis Shock and DC. So like one hell of a weekend. The Shock, DC, Carolina, like the Dallas, those are all really good teams. Those are a few of what people are probably considering some of the top tier teams. And yeah, so they kind of came out of nowhere and had themselves a great weekend.
So has your opinion changed on any teams in particular? Like, how are you looking at the landscape now? Like, who do you see as the biggest threats and who are you unimpressed with?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the biggest surprise of the weekend would be the Hustlers crushing it, and then the Carolina Pickleball Club only winning one match, and that was in a Dream Breaker. They had one 3-1 loss, they had one Dream Breaker win, and they had 3 Dream Breaker losses. So they scored only 5 points over 5 matches, which is not great. I think a lot of people looked at that team as a top team because of the Ben and Colin combo, and just thinking, all right, Ben's on an MLP team. He does a great job of pretty much always getting to finals. Like, any team that Ben is on is going to be a competitor. I can't remember what I graded that team. I didn't think I graded it great, but I'm sure that's in the public record somewhere or another. I think that was a surprise for most people, right? Maybe not a surprise for everybody, but a surprise for most people.
Texas Rangers paid the Utah Black Diamonds $100,000 for the top pick in the first round of waiver period 1. The Utah Black Diamonds are dead last. Why would they trade away the first waiver pick?
You've got that pick, and you can get $100,000 in your pocket.
What are they going to do with $100,000?
I don't know. I could do a lot with $100,000.
Yeah, you as an individual.
Yeah, fair. I mean, yeah, it's a way of making money.
So here's some of the other moves. Okay, DC Pickleball team acquires Vivian Glassman. Bay Area Breakers acquire Elise Jones and cash considerations. Texas Ranchers acquire Martin Emmer.
Wait, let's go through these one by one. All right.
DC Pickleball team.
DC got Vivian Glassman. They basically traded Elise Jones for Vivian Glassman, and the DC team paid $100,000 for Vivian Glassman.
Mm-hmm.
I think this trade is kind of wild. You're taking a player off of a challenger team and also paying the challenger team $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe you're betting on Vivian Glassman getting a ton better. I would think that the payment would be going the other way normally, right? In order to acquire a premier player, you have to pay a bunch of money as a challenger team.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised about the cash consideration in that. I was honestly surprised about the trade as well. Like, it seems like DC is doing fairly well. They're not, they're top 5 in the standings on a per point match. Like, I'm somewhat surprised with that trade. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, just for clarity, that the standings that I read through are based on points.
Based on points, not points per game.
Oh,
Not
total
points
points. Right.
Total points is very different. Yeah, because right now we have teams like the Hustlers who have played 10 matches. And then we have teams like us, the Fives and the Squeeze. We've only played 3 matches. So if you go by total points, it's kind of an irrelevant measure, because literally, if you look at the Hustlers, they have won 1,005 pickleball points. We've won, the Fives have won 323. And they've played 2,000 pickleball points. We've played like 600. So it's comparing apples to oranges if you're just going by the standards that, or the points scored that MLP is publishing, you have to look at points per match. So yeah, I mean, I'm somewhat surprised. I'm pretty surprised by that trade.
All right. Well, what do you think about the Ranchers acquiring Martin Emmerich?
They basically they got Emmerich with the intention of dropping him and picking up Quang Duong. Quang fit in well with their team with Christian out. So they traded Pablo to the Brooklyn Aces to get some cash. They knew they were going to drop Pablo anyway because they were acquiring the number 1 waiver wire selection. They knew they were going to take Quang Duong. So it kind of really sucks for Martin being in the crossfire here. He's definitely a challenger level player, and I'm sure he's going to get picked up in the waiver wire. Just kind of sucks for him to get dropped on this. But the Ranchers got cash for Pablo.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to drop Martin to free up the space, pick up Quang Duong, which they already have. They paid $100,000 to Utah for the first waiver wire pick.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, like, the other thing is Brooklyn Aces are the lotto team. They bring Pablo onto that team, which is interesting.
Right, because everybody's been speculating that Pablo's going to announce a lotto sponsorship soon.
Mm-hmm.
Was playing with Selkirk, now playing with a lotto paddle. Did he play with lotto paddle like all weekend?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
That I don't know the answer to. It's going to be interesting to see. Like, Quang and Pablo seems to be... I'm curious who's going to play the left between Quang and Christian Alshon. Christian is a really solid left side player. Also plays a very good right. It seems like Quang is more determined to be a left side player, and it works well with the two-handed backhand. So I think we might see Christian on the right here with Quang, which I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Christian played a great right with Riley last year on the DC team, but I think the Ranchers are really betting on Quang Duong.
Megan Fudge said she's ready to come back. You think she'll get picked up?
I mean, I'm sure she'll get picked up. I don't know if she's going to be picked up in a premier team, right? Like, which premier team is going to free up a spot to pick her up, right? Is it going to be the Hustlers? No. Is it going to be the Shock? I mean, are they going to drop Kate Fahey for Megan Fudge? I don't think so. Kate's been playing well, and they've done well so far. Dallas isn't dropping Tyra or Georgia. DC has Vivian Glausman and Rachel Rohrabacher. The Ranchers have Etta and Tina. The Fives have Annalie Waters, very droppable. Mari Humberg. I don't think we're making any moves, having not lost a match. Carolina, Coop and Jesse. Yes, maybe she is level wise good enough, but who's going to free up the space to do it? Would it be the Black Diamonds?
Yeah. I do like, now that we're kind of like in the season, looking at the way, the points work, creating some continuity across the season. It gives you something to track between events, and it builds. So when they do have a championship, I think it'll mean much more. So I kind of like the way this is all shaking out. And then I think all the trade and waiver wire stuff is super interesting. These are the storylines that the sport needs to, get people involved and interested in what's actually happening. So I like the way things are going.
Yeah, I mean, the between event stuff is far more interesting now, right? Like, and that was MLP's biggest problem before, is like there was nothing to talk about between events, really.
Right.
There were very, very few trades. It was so hard to make trades because there wasn't cash consideration. There wasn't real waiver wire stuff that was meaningful in Premier League. Like, we can now actually make trades and make meaningful trades. And yeah, I think it's far more interesting. I think that the Challenger draft waiver wire, I think that is going to be a, shit show. Like, I'm anticipating a lot of moves in Challenger. I think there's less allegiance. It's still tougher to move premier level players, but I think players towards the bottom of the standings in Challenger, like, there are players waiting at the on the sidelines that are very close to that level. Olakai, a Hawaiian-inspired lifestyle brand best known for their insanely comfortable sandals. Pickleball shoes that are actually for pickleball. The Anau is designed specifically for the pickleball with a focus on airy breathability, lateral stability, multi-directional traction, and comfort both on and off the court. They feature a non-marking sole for indoor and outdoor pickleball courts with a design inspired by cauliflower coral that is found throughout Hawaii's ocean waters. The purchase of every Olokai product gives back to Hawaiian nonprofits. Visit the link in the description and try a pair for yourself. They kind of came out of nowhere in the pickleball scene. I started seeing them all over Instagram, and the stuff looks pretty cool. Like, it's some coralish color, like they mentioned, cauliflower coral. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I think the navy shoes are pretty cool. There's not many pickleball shoes I'd actually wear. These ones are actually pretty stylish.
Yeah.